Alright, picture the end of a game of pool. There are only two balls left and both of them should be easy. A minute earlier, you were fine. Everything was flowing. Shots were dropping without much effort. The angle needs a second look. Instead of just taking the shot, you run it through your head first. For a moment, your body feels a bit awkward, like it's lost the feel of something it already knew. Then you miss. That's the weird part. The shot was not hard. Earlier on, you probably made tougher ones without even thinking about it. So the simple answer does not really hold up. Nothing changed about the table. Your ability did not vanish in half a minute. Pressure did not magically make the cue heavier. What changed was you. Here's where it gets interesting. A lot of skilled actions do not work best when you drag them into full conscious thought. Take driving. Ask someone to explain every tiny thing they do during a lane change, and they'll probably sound clumsy. Meanwhile, when they actually do it, it happens smoothly. Somewhere along the way, the skill moves deeper. Psychologists usually talk about this as the difference between automatic processing and controlled processing. Automatic processing is quick, fluid, and mostly outside conscious awareness. Controlled processing is slower, more deliberate, and more analytical. Both matter. They just do different jobs. At the start, conscious thinking helps. When you first learn something, you need to pay attention. You think about posture, timing, movement, all of it. Bit by bit, the brain builds the pattern. Later on, repetition changes things. Eventually, the whole sequence gets compressed. Rather than making loads of tiny decisions, you carry out one smooth action. That is basically what skill becomes. Go back to the pool table. Right before the winning shot, your brain notices what is at stake. Winning stops being vague and becomes real. Once that happens, attention kicks in. On paper, that sounds useful. In practice, it can wreck the shot. Instead of letting the movement run on its own, your mind starts hovering over it. Questions pop up that normally stay quiet. Is the cue straight? Am I lined up properly? Have I got the angle right? Should I slow down? The problem is that conscious thought is too slow and too clumsy to run something your body already knows how to do. Try imagining every muscle involved in throwing a ball. You would ruin the movement before it even started. That is the basic issue here. This is what people mean when they talk about choking under pressure. Research from C and Baylock points to this exact pattern. Skilled performers often mess up in big moments because they start monitoring actions that usually run automatically. It is not that they stop caring. Quite often, they care too much in the wrong way. So it is not about laziness. It is not about a lack of effort. If anything, it is too much effort from the conscious mind. Watch top athletes and you see something strange. They do not usually describe their best moments as hyper-analytical. Golfers talk about rhythm. Basketball players mention flow. Tennis players often say they were just seeing the ball cleanly. The common thread is trust. Even under pressure, the best performers often protect the automatic part of the skill instead of interfering with it. Sometimes they use small routines for that. A breath, a bounce, one visual cue, something simple. Those little rituals are doing more than they seem. They give the conscious mind just enough to hold so it does not start grabbing at everything else. In other words, the answer is not always to think harder. Quite often it is to get out of your own way. That is why missing the final pull shot feels so odd. It seems like pressure exposed a weakness in your skill. Really, it may have exposed a weakness in conscious control. Your brain stepped in to help and ended up interrupting the thing it should have left alone. Oddly enough, getting better at something can make this effect more noticeable. Once a skill is deeply automatic, interference does more damage. The system works best when it is trusted. So the real lesson in that missed shot is not that pressure destroys ability, it is that control has limits. Expert performance is not about gripping everything tighter. A lot of the time, it comes down to knowing when to leave the skill alone.